have to stay like that. Give the gift of a clean car this holiday. Buy your certificate at NebraskaAutoDetail.com or call 402-601-5086 for an appointment today.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details. You take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial to residential to agriculture storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post-frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You've got used to one segment of good takes in the morning, but now there's a full show of good takes at night. Welcome into Raff's Good Take on Sports on 93.7 The Ticket.
All right, welcome in. Raff's Good Take on Sports, 93.7 The Ticket. We got Chris Raff, Harrison Arns. As always, you guys are welcome to join in. Sauter Heyman text line and the streams. Facebook, YouTube, XL, channel 961. Raff, how's it going here? On a beautiful, just downright beautiful day in the capital city of Lincoln, Nebraska. It's been 55, 57 degrees is what it got to.
Dang, it got warm in Lincoln, Nebraska. I don't even think it got to 57 here in Alabama today, but it was nice out. It was decent. No complaints. Yeah,
I'm wearing shorts. It's incredible.
Wow.
December 9th.
Shorts. I like it. No shorts here, but you never know. There could be a 65, 70 degree weather day come up here the next week or two, hopefully. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah. So what's new? What's going on in the world of sports? I mean, is the Nebraska sports talk, is it just probably really not that busy right now with, the gap until the bowl game and
Yeah, nothing's been happening.
just slow.
We can probably just call the show right now if you want to take the night off. There's like nothing.
Yeah, it's just things are just going just very slow. What's crazy about this though, with all this that's going on is have you even thought about the bowl game? Like, I mean,
Yeah, I actually have a lot, Raff, not for
yeah,
good reason.
I'm proud of you.
Raff, I'm thinking about it. I hope I'm dead wrong. I'm thinking about the bad scenarios that could happen. I'm not thinking about it in the best way, and I'm not telling Husker fans to, build Utah into a giant that it's not. But Nebraska just better come ready to play. Is kind of the mindset. So I'm holding on faith, and I'm hoping that the Huskers do not take Utah lightly whatsoever, because that team, they're all going to play. That's not a team that's going to have a lot of opt-outs. This game means something. And if we go in there not taking it seriously or not preparing seriously, you don't want to end the season this way. This Utah team will embarrass you if you don't want to come to play. I'm not saying Nebraska's not going to come in ready to play, but I hope you see their best version, because they're going to need it.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to see how everything, like from a participation standpoint. I guess I'm curious to see how that plays out. Like, I'm assuming though there's going to be some players that are going to like not to play in the bowl game. So it'll be, because like Emmett, for instance, he's gone. Like, no bowl game, he's finished.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, this is a good question from the text line to kind of size up a lot of this. There's a good chunk of the Husker fans are kind of like in a flux of like, is this a good season? Is this a bad season? Should we celebrate back-to-back bowl games? Or are we celebrating, what really isn't too big of a milestone? What is the real goal of Nebraska football? So let's get to this text right here. Unknown texter 1000 says, got to ask you guys, was listening to Jay yesterday and I asked him about it. He said, if Nebraska goes 7-5 next year, is that going to be okay? And his answer was, well, with Matt Rule, it's a little bit different. And he says, why is it different for Coach Rule? There's a lot in this. I don't want to take Jay out of context. I don't know the depth of the conversation, but
yeah.
I think what they're trying to figure out is next year, if we're 7-5, again, I don't want to look too far forward. Is that good enough? Even though the schedule supposedly is going to be tougher, we don't know until it plays out. I mean, what is the real goal for Nebraska next year with some of the soft resets we've hit on this staff?
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't know what, like, I know what I think should be successful, but then I also know that to where other fans are out there that they don't see that. Like, and then there's some fans out there now that I don't know if it's apathy, but they've kind of got to the point that, hey, we're not going to be in the upper echelon of college football. But my thought process is this: it's like, you see all the money that's going into Nebraska football, and you're seeing what they're doing to put themselves in the upper echelon. So you've got to demand, from my point of view, you've got to demand greatness. I mean, if you're up there, like talking about the money that you have and stuff like that, well, I get that you need your, what is say, you need your Jimmies and Jills, not your X's and O's. I understand that, but I also understand too that there comes a time where you have got to, what comes into the universe, there's got to be some production out of it. Like 7-5. I mean, I look at this year. I've told AD this. I think, like, the brand of I think Nebraska's played a cleaner brand of football, but the quality of football, I'm not sure. Was this enough improvement for a year 3 of a regime? And then it's like hitting resets on year 3. I mean, hey, Raff's Roadies. Yep.
That goes Mr. Dallas Cowboy himself. That was Pete Ferguson.
Oh, yes, that is a Raff's Roadie right there.
That is one of the truest Raff's Roadies. I had to put them out there. They were waving. They came by quickly since they haven't waved, and if they're watching the stream, what the hell's going on here. They came in, they had a nice little reading session. DP was part of it. Pete Ferguson talked to him. We had even one of the scholars hop in studio. So they held that event today. I believe it's at the Lead Center. I could be corrected on that. But just phenomenal. Wanted to shout them out.
Yep. No, Pete's awesome, and everything he does for definitely a Raff's good take all the time for everything he does for the city of Lincoln, the state of Nebraska, and just what he does for the scholars. I mean, that is a great listen too on Sundays when he has the scholars on.
Well, you know why it works too, is because Pete cares about it deeply, and there's attention to detail, and there's that focus, and he's only doing it for the greater good of the youth. And like to really bridge these two together, I know it's a stretch, but like that's what you're looking for in your Husker football team is in the world of money and NIL and coaches extensions. Yeah, I'm fine with coaches making their money, but that's why, you look at Indiana, who Kurt Cignetti says, "Nah, I'm committed here. Well, I can." He has coordinators last year who could have got jobs anywhere. They said, "No, I want to be here with Kurt Cignetti. I like this program. I like this program gave us an opportunity, and they trust us to do what we do." That's what Nebraska's got to get to. Is we got to have absolute faith that everyone in there is working the way they should be working. And it's not this particular staff's fault. It's a lot of the staffs prior, but I think that's where I fear the most of like some of this Husker fan base is where, again, if you do this for 10, 15 more years, apathy will happen. I think.
Oh, it's not even 10 or 15 more years. I'm telling you, this has got to a point now. Like, I mean, you look at it, Nebraska hasn't been relevant in college football. And well, their last conference championship was 1999. I guess you could say maybe 2009 year with Ndamukong Suh. But I mean, can you really say over the last 25 years, Nebraska's really been relevant in college football, or even posed a threat to even come close to talking about a championship or anything of that nature?
No, so, we've been out of the national conversation since I've been alive to remember football. Like, that's the problem. We've never been a national conversation team since, a majority of my life outside of the few years when I was a real young lad, who wasn't able to comprehend what was going on.
And the Nebraska football, they've leaned into that. I don't know if the demand to be, I mean, yes, Nebraska fans have wanted them to be a great football team, but is the demand there? And sometimes I wonder about that. Like, are we happy if it's 7-5 next year? I'm not. I mean, I'm not. I mean, it's where
you
it's
don't want to lower your standards is the problem.
But why is it every time, when other teams do well right off the bat, it's, great coaching job, this, and this. But then Nebraska doesn't do it. Well, it takes some time. It's going to take some time. We've got to change. We've got to change the culture. We've got to do this. We've got to do that. Or we've got to get players. We've got to get better players. Or we've got to get bigger and stronger. And it's always like, there's always something, it's like, well, okay, but I'm watching other teams that, that transform themselves. Like Oklahoma's one. I mean, they were on the struggle bus the last couple of years. They've transformed, so it's like, I'm to the point now where I'm tired of the excuses. I look back and people are always like, well, quit talking about the 90s and stuff like that. But one of the things that people forget about the 90s is Nebraska didn't have all the best players. If you remember, you were a little before your time, but all the talk ever was Florida State gets all the good players. Miami gets all the good players. All the Southern schools get all the good players. Yes, Nebraska had some great players, but it was a sprinkling of great players. And then there was a lot of people that were your core players that, they weren't there wasn't a star system back then, but they would have probably been like 2 and 3 star players and stuff like that. And a lot of that goes into developing. And I get it that you've got it. People say, well, you've got to have the best players. But the thing about it is you're telling me that you're getting, 3 and 4 star players that you can't develop them to make them. And that falls, I think, on the coaching staff itself. I mean, yes, it takes the players' dedication and their willingness to be great, but also you've got to look at the coaching staff too and be like, okay, why are we not developing the players like Kirk Cignetti? Like, I had a person tell me that, well, he brought all of his team from JMU. That's why he was great. Well, I'm guessing those JMU players were not 4 and 5 star players at JMU, but he had developed them. So that's what I'm looking for. I want to see some development is what I want to see. And I know people will be like, oh, well, you're not happy. Well, it's like, well, where's you've got to demand it sometime. If you kept on, I don't think Nebraska fans, 7-5, yes. And people are going to come back and be like, well, look at the prior years when we weren't 7-5 and we were under 500 and stuff like that. But it's just like, I understand that, but it's like, I don't think Nebraska fans are filling up, an 80,000 seat stadium just to see 7-5 every year.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, the biggest, I think why people get frustrated, and it's rightfully so, is like you've heard of the blue chip ratio, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how many 3 and 4 star players do you have? And it's not always the best representative of a team's success, but you look at some of these teams, it makes sense. Ohio State, 73%, Georgia, they're in the 70s. Alabama's up there, LSU, Oregon, Texas A&M. The schools that are good, it shows up in that blue chip ratio. Nebraska, again, this was all the way back before the season started, so some things changed, but they were actually sitting pretty solid at number 22, 27%. Some of those guys are going to be younger guys, but it's when you look at Iowa, who absolutely beat the brakes off of us. They're sitting there all the way down at 35 with very low percentage. I'm trying to find Indiana because Indiana had like hardly anybody that was in that category to be a 4 or 5 star.
Yeah.
And that's the team that's got a lot of people asking questions. Well, like, how is that possible? And do you just have to get lucky and hit a home run coach and a guy like Kurt Signetti? Or does Nebraska have a serious development problem? They were 8%. That's what it was. So Indiana was only 8%. And now they are the number 1 team in the country, despite having a blue chip ratio that history would say you have no shot.
But like Indiana too, like I get it. Kirk Sinetti's a good coach, but he's not the only one there. You know what I mean? Like it's his entire staff. It's what he puts out there. One coach and a few pep talks and saying Google me. That's not what makes him a great coach. And I look at the entire thing of what Indiana has done. And like you look at that, like all we hear constantly is we got to get better players. We got to get better players. But then you have Indiana that's, doing what they're doing with the low percentage of blue chips. And I know people are going to say, well, it's a one-off thing. It's a one-off thing. But it's like, but that shows me that it's possible. And it's like going to where Nebraska's at right now. I mean, just that they have not beat a top 25 team. What are we like? 0-24. And I mean, that's just crazy. That's crazy to me that Nebraska couldn't even, just got lucky in one game and won at least one, top 25 game. So I'm to the point now. It's just like, I'm ready to see some movement like that. Like this year, I mean, I know they gave Coach Roll a 3-year extension, but you've got to, after this year, don't you got to maybe fire up the hot seat just to scotch, just for the fact that what has happened is, I mean, the failures of the late season, really not put, I guess what, Cincinnati game was probably maybe the one victory of the year that it's like, there's got to be a little bit of a torch lit up, to be like, hey, going to need a little bit more. And I get worried too, that we're hitting resets after year 3, that we're going to our 3rd defense coordinator now.
Yep. Third guy, you didn't have a choice. I can understand Tony White a little bit. He was leaving. But John Butler, obviously, you not only had him, you brought in Phil Snow, I think, to kind of help, and it just didn't work out. And now you're on to your 3rd, and you still have Phil Snow in the room. And I got no problems with Phil Snow, but it's a room where you feel like you're adding all this cushioning to it. Just go hire the right guy, and you don't got to worry about some of the cushioning there. But nonetheless, they're in a tough situation. We do got a lot of text coming in. You guys are welcome joining in. Raff, I think we can do a little bit of text mailbag on the second segment.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty to get to. So if you guys want to get them in, 402-464-5685. We'll throw the break around the 20-minute mark. So we'll hit a little bit shorter, and then we'll leave a good bit of spot for the text line if they want to hop in here. But just going back to the development, and like I threw out Indiana with that blue chip ratio, but then you throw in the schools like Iowa, the schools like Illinois, the schools Northwestern, Rutgers, schools that, maybe you beat Rutgers, Northwestern more often than not lately, but you're not doing it by much. And everything on paper says this class was good, Nebraska. If they build this class up, and that's the key part, build those classes up, you will have a very good roster by year 3 or 4, year 2, however many guys play. And we've had really good recruiting classes year after year after year. And like, we just don't have a lot to show for it. There's a massive development problem at the University of Nebraska. And that's kind of where I land. Who's all at fault for it? I couldn't tell you, but I think it's fair to say we haven't been getting the most out of our players. Do you remember Banks, for instance, at Nebraska? Offensive line guard.
Oh, Brant Banks or no?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, Brant Banks. Yeah,
he's here, not good enough here. He transfers to Rice, has a career. Now he's in the NFL. Wandale Robinson.
Well,
we got dudes. We don't.
Wandale was a dude while I was here, but Wandale was used wrong while I was here, and that I can speak on firsthand basis because I had discussions with Wandale's dad about keeping Wandale at Nebraska, and Wandale would have stayed at Nebraska, but unfortunately the coach that was here did not see eye to eye with what they were wanting, and
Wandale was right. Wandale Robinson was 100% right in that decision.
Yeah. So he made the right choice, but I can speak on that one because I can tell you, me and his father Dale had many of discussions about that. So,
wow. Well, that being said, plenty of things left to talk about in Husker football. Like I said, we'll throw it to break a little bit early here. That'll save a lot of time for the texters, and you guys can get a few more in there if you please to do so. Chris Raff, Harrison Arns, Raff's Good Take on Sports. We'll open up to you guys, the listeners on the other segment, 402-464-5685. Don't go anywhere. We'll talk to you guys in just a little bit.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
I'm Steve Carper, and I'm here to tell you that there's never been a better time to buy flooring. Whether you need carpet, wood flooring, ceramic tile, vinyl, area rugs, or custom blinds, you got to come to O Street Carpet. With our 12-month interest-free financing, you can do one room or your whole house and leave your holiday budget intact. And with our huge in-stock selection, you can buy today and we'll install it right away. 1732 O Street. We want to make you a customer for life.
This holiday season, bring home a tradition that tastes like celebration. Beatrice Bakery's world-famous fruitcake, baked in the heart of Nebraska with rich, golden batter, real cherries, pineapple, crunchy nuts, and a splash of old-fashioned goodness. It's moist, flavorful, and crafted the same way for generations. It's the fruitcake that turns skeptics into believers. Find Beatrice Bakery fruitcake online at grandmasbakeshop.com or at your favorite retailer, and make your holidays deliciously unforgettable with the help of Beatrice Bakery's world-famous fruitcake.
It's basketball season, and Salt Mine City is your pregame and postgame headquarters in the Haymarket for craft beers and great food. Get ready for the game with their big, fatty 7-ounce hamburger or try a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. And don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, your basketball headquarters, now open at 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 11 a.m. Friday through Sunday at 8th and R.
Imagine starting your day with a computer glitch that leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unable to get your work done. You have 1,000,001 things to get done today, and waiting for the tech issue to solve itself isn't one of them. It's time to let Hamilton handle the tech so you don't have to. We help businesses across the state spend more time on what they do best and less time frustrated with office technology. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we're focused on providing custom solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Connect with us today at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
comfort food, but make it vegan. At Rutabagas, they're serving all your crave-worthy classics. Mac and cheese, loaded nachos, Philly cheesesteaks, all 100% plant-powered and 100% delicious. Catch them at their cozy spot at 70th and Vine, or find their food truck rolling through the streets of Lincoln. So whether you're vegan, veg curious, or just hungry for comfort food with a twist, Rutabagas has a plate waiting for you. Find them on Instagram for their food truck location and specials. Rutabagas, where comfort meets compassion.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. It doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. There's only one place this holiday season to shop for the sports fan in your life and get cash back for slightly used sports items you don't need anymore. Play It Again Sports. Check out their selection of new and used items, including home fitness equipment like treadmills, exercise bikes, and ellipticals, and get your lift on with free weights, benches, and racks to add to your home gym. And don't forget, if you have anything slightly used to trade in, they'll give you instant cash. Holiday shopping starts and ends at Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Back to Raff's Good Take on Sports on 93.7 The Ticket. With all the good takes you need, here is your host, Chris Raff.
Welcome back in. Raff's Good Take on Sports. And as promised, we'll get to the text line on this one. You guys can keep chiming in if you want. 402-464-5685. Or you can do it via the streams as well. Chris Raff, first one. Let's go ahead and get to it. This one from Mr. Mike says, you can't argue that this year was an improvement over last year, but next year also needs to be an improvement over this year. I think we can start there. Was this year an improvement?
Was this year an improvement? Man, I'm not sure. I mean, if you had asked me this at the beginning of the year, I would have said yes, hands down. But the way that the last, the last 3 games have went, I have question marks because I'm not really sure. Like, look where we were standing at the end of last year. We kind of had a good showing in the bowl game. We kind of felt like what we were going to. We knew, I guess we kind of knew where we were going or what direction we were headed. Do you have that same good taste in your mouth? I mean, can we, if we beat Utah in the bowl game, does that put like that
puts fire under me. If we beat Utah, that's why it's a big game. Utah's a damn good football team.
Yeah, they're 15th in the country, I believe.
And they beat Cincinnati by a good 30-something points. This team's legit. They will punish you if you don't come in ready. So if you can win this, and depending on how it looks, I will feel a lot better. I mean, that's a good win to hang your hat on.
If we go to this bowl game and they say they take it to us, was this year better than last year? My thought process
been blown. the easiest way to answer these type of questions, like if the wind's blowing, which way is it blowing?
Yeah, I'm not. I think you're going into this year with more of a negative taste in your mouth than what you were last year. So I'd almost have to say last year was better for Nebraska than this year.
Yeah, you can get into strength of schedule and all that. There's a few ways. If you want to say just looking at how many wins did you get, this year was better. If you're going at, how did it look, especially in some of the games versus the rivals, you're leaning towards this was a step backward, or at the very least, a sidestep. Not forward, not backward. And I think that's where I'm at. It's like I don't know.
So now we look at wins because all I'm saying is I think you have got to hold Coach Rule to the same, what we held, the Bo Pelini's to, the Mike Riley's to, the Scott Frost's to. Like Bo Pelini, for instance, he was winning 9 games a year, but they weren't the wins to Brad. We weren't beating the teams that the tougher teams, so to say. So Nebraska now, I mean, don't you have to look at Coach Rule the same way you looked at Coach Pelini? So we won 7 games this year, but now were those the games? So that's where I get kind of like, I know that the win, you look at the wins and you're like, okay, well, we were better because we had more wins in the regular season. But I'm from the different standpoint. It's like, well, are we looking at the win, just the wins, no matter who they were against, or are we looking at who we're playing, who we're losing to? So I'm kind of feel like we're in a dead heat, if not maybe a little bit behind where we were at last year at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to say we're better, not by a whole lot, but fair if you do think so. We do get a few of those from text line as well. Let's get to unknown texter 1000 talking about again. What is that standard for Matt Rule? We fired coaches that were winning 10 games or 9 games, but we fired in many ways because they weren't doing enough. Remember, we're not going to go to mediocre. So again, kind of just highlighting.
Yeah, well,
that's don't want to drop the standard necessarily.
Well, that's like with Coach Rule. Like I like he got the 3-year extension, and I know you're going to fall back on, and people fall back. Well, he got us to 2 consecutive bowl games. That's better than what we've done in the previous, 5 or 6 years. However, that glaring number is 0-8 against top 25 teams. So it's like, so Nebraska, you're telling me Nebraska fans are happy with, okay, just going to a bowl game and that they're content with that. And if that's what Nebraska fans are content with now is just going to a bowl game, then I have no qualm. But my thought process is, doesn't Nebraska want to get back to playing, in playoffs and playing for championships? It's like, but if just going to a bowl game and like I said, I guess being that I lived, 25 years prior to you were being born, maybe, I don't know, Harrison, is a bowl game just good enough, being that since you really weren't around during those championship years? I mean, is the younger generation, are they good with just bowl game and not playing in the upper echelon of college football?
The ones that care aren't the ones that they're losing don't care at all is the problem with it. Like for me, I don't think, I'll be fair to the people who are still on Matt Rule's side. Again, I think the position you take on Matt Rule's totally fine if you want more or if you think he's doing the things he needs to. But I don't think anyone's content with just this bowl game. I think they would say there's a silver lining here, that not everything is as bad as you guys are saying it is. That as much as you want to say it's not good enough, look at what it's been. Like, this does not mean we were ever going to go run into 9-10 win seasons knowing how bad this program's been. But, the blowouts make it tough. If we were not blown out in the fashion that we were in those last 2 games, people probably are a little more optimistic. The way it looked is what really, really hurt Nebraska. Well, let's keep it moving here so we can try to get to all of these. The OJCJ says it's better players. Says, look at Indiana. We talked about that as well. Dan says, is it 7-5 and we played hard and lost close, or did we blunder our way into losing games that were winnable? because those are two different stories. I want to see a team that plays sound football, players that make the right angle on the ball and block like their mom is behind them. Great last line on that text. Good text overall. But I think it's good to ask. Is the 7-5 that we played hard and lost close, or did we blunder our way out of losing winnable games?
At the end of the year, we were just getting beat down. I mean, Penn State, Iowa. I mean, not even really competitive in either of those games. And it's not like
what about
USC?
You lose your quarterback. Fair.
You lost your quarterback. Played close. I thought
Minnesota, we got just ravaged though. We haven't had close losses versus the teams that were going to be close. We kind of just been getting blown out by them.
Yeah, and that goes back to that also for me. I kind of have to laugh because, you know, leading up into USC and leading up to that, a lot of people were talking about how they wanted a quarterback change.
Yep.
And then you get your quarterback change, and then and by no means I'm saying I thought TJ played really well for, you know, what he was dealt with. But I told a lot of people, and I voiced it from the get-go. I go, he's a young quarterback. The possessions he'd seen was against, you know, lower class teams at the beginning of the season. So of course he looked, you know, really, really good. But when you put him and throw him in there against, you know, the Iowas and the Penn States of the world, I think that's where I think a healthy Dylan Raiola probably would have helped us a little bit, just being that he's been there and seen that. But that's another thing. Like we're talking about, you know, are we better going into next year? Because I mean, now we're sitting here going into next year. I don't think Nebraska really knows, you know, identity of the offense. Really, you know, we know Emmett's not going to be back. So you're taking out 1,800 yards of total offense right there. So we're going into next year. So we're going into year 4, and we really still don't know what our offense is, what it really is, or, you know, what it's going to be. And it's wild in a sense. I feel like last year, again, I felt like going into the offseason, we kind of knew what we were going to be this year. But now going into next year is kind of it's a mixed bag, because I'm really not sure, you know, what direction we're going to go in. And then, you know, bringing in, you know, the new offensive line coach, they, you know, had more of a mobile running quarterback. So this is like, is that what Nebraska is going to lean to? So does that mean is Latif that guy? Or, you know, it's there's a lot of questions going into next year.
Well, the problem was, and I think you and me landed on the same page. When it came to the TJ Latif, Dylan Raiola conversation, why I just didn't pay a whole lot of mind. A, it wasn't happening yet, so I couldn't talk about it even if I wanted to. B, I think you and me both knew that wasn't going to fix the team.
No.
Even if TJ Latif was the right decision, like, he wasn't going to be good enough to overcome the deficiencies that we had on offense. And that was what we saw. When you get to play some of those better defenses, it's not just we'll move this guy, or we can't run the 3-3-5 anymore. We got to do, you know, a traditional defense. No, we got to develop players. Like that is where Nebraska's lacking. To me, that's the most obvious trend that you can look at for Nebraska, and really the fall of Nebraska, is we have just struggled when it comes to developing players. And in the Big Ten, that's huge, because you can't go in the transfer portal and start finding elite linemen. Linemen are typically homebred and grown, obviously maybe not from that state, but recruited, worked on. You let them build up, get their muscle mass, especially in the Big Ten. You get to the portal. Last year was an anomaly, just to get 2 guys, in Rocco Spindler and Elijah Pritchett.
No.
There's a chance you get one or don't get any. And then what are we looking at for this offensive line? Not to mention the team chemistry you want and the communication. So, you know, that's where, until I see like consistent development of guys that we've held on to that have worked into becoming great players, it's going to be tough for this program to get back. You can get it patchwork through the portal, but again, to me, that's the easiest thing you can look at, and that coincides with Nebraska's downfall. And it's pretty parallel on that chart of going downhill.
And two, I think it's not even so much as becoming great players. It's just trying to get to good players. Just if offensive line, you could just get it to be good. I think that would be a good thing, because right now it's like Nebraska's offensive line. Like, what would be the listeners out there? What would be the grade of the Nebraska's offensive line this year?
Say it one more time. I lost you a little bit, Raff.
What would be the grade that you would give Nebraska's offensive line for this year?
C minus.
Yep, that's kind of what I was thinking, because you got to give them some credit with what Emmett did, because they were blocking for him. But then you've got to dock them, because the sacks, there was a lot. I mean, I know every sack has its story, and it's not always on the offensive line, but they're the key contributor when it comes to protecting the quarterback. So I'd say probably a C or C minus too. Probably the way the last couple 3 games went, probably a C minus. But yeah, so that's one of those things. Nebraska's at least got to get it up to like a B or a B plus. Excuse
me. I think you got to start spending the money there. Like, we like to spend
money, but
we got to start spending money on the trenches first. Like, I think we got to switch up the priorities. Like, that has to be number one.
So what is the leeway now?
Leeway for?
Well, you got a new offensive line coach now. So is next year a gelling year to where you're going to give it some leeway and be like, okay, well, we're going to let this, you know what I mean? It's like we get into like these trends. Like every time you hit a reset, you've got to rebuild. You've got to rebuild your chemistry. You've got to rebuild your philosophy, because I'm guessing that I keep on just calling him Jeep. I am guessing Jeep has a different type of philosophy than what Donnie had. So it's like, what kind of leeway are you giving this offensive line now? Is this one of these like come out and you're going to give it a year or two to build, or are we expecting, a B or a B plus type offensive line next year? And that's something I guess Nebraska fans and the Nebraska program are going to have to look at, because when you replace coaches, like same goes for a defense coordinator. Like, I get that he had a great year for San Diego State this past year, but you're looking at one year. It's like, is that I don't know. I kind of like him, like maybe couple more years, maybe a little bit tougher competition, but it's just like, what are we expecting there? Is it gonna take, Ulrich, say his name. Is it going to take, what's his transitional period going to be? Are we giving him a year or two leeway to get his feet wet, to get used to playing Big Ten, type defense? So it's like, it's always, and the next thing Coach Rose going into coach, to year 4, year 5, year 6. And it's like, that's the stuff. It's like, how many years are we going to give away? Or are we, like, I know in their mind that they're saying, yeah, we're going to come out, we're going to, be the best possible team that we can be next year. But then realistically, it's like, but how much time is it going to take? Like I've continued to say over and over again about with the coaching staff, it's like, I like when you bring in an offense coordinator that they bring in their staff, because they've got it there. So when you have like the potpourri, like say Addison stays, say Dvorak stays, then you got whoever replaces Terry, how does that work? I mean, is it going to take them a year to gel? It's stuff like that I look at, from prior coaching, is like, is there a year to where these coaches got to get to know each other? It's like, that's why I always have been like, for me, it's like, if Nebraska called me tomorrow and said, hey, do you want to be the offense coordinator? I'd be like, sure, but I want to be able to bring my own, so then we can hit the ground running. And so I'm not getting to know my offensive line coach or my receivers coach. I'm like, now we know each other. Now we just got to instill it to the players.
Yeah, which makes sense. Like, why'd you hire me? You liked what I was doing. Trust the guy that you're hiring. You're paying him millions of dollars. So,
Well, because you look at Ulrich now, he's coming in. So by it looks like they're going to keep Addison.
Mm-hmm.
So Rob Ulrich is going to have to install his philosophy of way he coaches defense to Addison. So then Dvorak the same way. He's going to have to install to Dvorak. The new defensive line coach, you would think, will probably be somebody maybe that he has a connection with. But if it's not, then he's going to have to. So you're going to have to go through and instill your philosophy to each one of these coaches before you even get to the players. So that's why I'm always like, bring in, I guess that's one demand I'd be if I was a coordinator. I'd be like, I want to hire my coaches.
And yeah, I mean, unless you have like an incredible guy who's at a position coach spot or a unique spot, and he's an all-time great, like you can maybe understand some of those guys, but I'm in the same mindset. Let's get to a couple more texts before we go to break. Unknown texter 8985. I think we showed an improvement, but I'm not sure unless we win the bowl game if this season is better than last. Again, I'm right there with you. This bowl game's huge. But winning close games is definitely an improvement from previous seasons. And then unknown texter 0156. I think the transfer portal adds so much uncertainty to the year-to-year feeling, which is true. How many of this year's team will make it to next year? EJ not playing, and this is terrifying for our offense.
Yeah, it's definitely, and you don't know, what the offense is going to look like. Like with the portal there, you don't know, if Dylan will hit the portal, if Latif will hit the portal. I mean, there's a good possibility both of them could hit the portal. It's crazy stuff like that, and then it's almost like you're back to square one. What kind of philosophy of offense are you looking at? Are you looking at? Because that's I guess the frustrating thing for me after 3 years. It's just like, what is Nebraska's philosophy? We talk that we want to be the most physical team out there, but sometimes you don't see that. Talking it and then seeing it come to fruition on the field are two different things.
Well, you have to be careful what you say. Like when you tell people stuff, they'll start believing you.
Yeah.
And maybe Matt Rule saw this and thought it was true. This might have been 2 seasons ago or last year, but they do the Big Ten preview or the college football preview. They go around different schools, and he went on the podium and said, yeah, the guy told me nobody is working harder than Nebraska except for Georgia, and we'll catch up to Georgia. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But that's stuff people hear that and they believe you. Dabo Sweeney saying we're going to go 16-0, be the first team to do it. People listened. They heard you. Now they have all sorts of questions like, well, what were you seeing? Because you were way off about being undefeated. That stuff happens when you hear certain things. And then when it blows up, you just got to be careful what you say, unless you're absolutely certain.
But even like this year, like Coach Rowe came out on several occasions and said how much he loves his team, how much he loves coaching it. And, and he basically at the Big Ten media days, when Dylan said we were going to play for the championship, he didn't put a kibosh on him. He said he like that. And so when fans see that, you begin to believe. I mean, you follow the leader. Coach Rule's the leader. So when he comes out and says that, but then when it doesn't come to fruition, then it gets walked back, and then that's where it's just like where I'm like, people might look at me and be like, well, maybe you're a little hard on Coach Rule, but it's like I don't think I am. I think I'm just holding him up to the same standards that, like, I mean, if I was hard on anyone, I was hard on Coach Callahan. I was very hard on Coach Callahan, but it's like, if I was hard on him, I've got to hold everyone to the same standard. When I look at the coaches, like Coach Riley, I was hard on Coach Riley. Everybody said, he's a nice guy, but I'm like, well, I great, he's a nice guy, or great, Coach Rule, great guy, very personable, probably, love to, hang out with him. However, is that what we're going for? A lot of people with Bo Pelini, people think, well, it was his sideline antics and his personable skills. But then there was also the talk of, well, he couldn't win the quote unquote, the big games. And that, that aided him out of there too. It's like, but I could care less, what the outside stuff is, the outside noise is. It's what happens on the field. And so it's like, I look at Coach Rule. I'm like, yeah, you're a positive for Nebraska. You're spreading the word in Nebraska. You're on the Pat McAfee show. You're doing your things. But at the end of the day, it's like, you are 0-8 against you are what your record is. And it's sort of like, maybe need a little bit more, like I was one of the people that I was like, I hope that Nebraska just did not extend Coach Rule just to keep him away from Penn State, because I'm still on that point. Like, I don't want him to be a lame duck coach by no means, but on the other hand, it's like, show us something, get a win against top 25 team.
That's why that USC game was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was. We're committed to it. Here's the game that we've been begging for. Like, that game was a dagger. It really was. And I know there's some things in there. Nebraska played great, for the most part, but it still felt like Nebraska missed some opportunities in that. And I've seen other teams win a game when their quarterback goes out. Especially, I think Nebraska probably could have the lead if they execute. So I don't know where the wind's blowing. I just know that there's not a whole lot of Husker fans that could probably tell you where it's blowing either. And that's always the sign of not a broken program, but a program that's got a little bit of sickness to it. Where you got too many questions.
Well, I think what happens too is it's just a lot of so you have, like, say, people my age or a little bit older and stuff like that. So now they're going on, 25 years of just like, they've seen it when it was at its all-time best. Will it ever get to that ever again? Probably not. But they've seen it at that point. So then when you're going 25 years, you just sort of, like, I'll be honest with you, that Penn State game, I was so excited for that game to be over with, because I was just like, what is going on? And I, in all the years that I watched Nebraska football and all the crazy losses, I mean, the Texas Tech game where they put up 70 on us, I never had that feeling of it. Just like, I really don't care right now whether this game continues on or if it gets over with. And I hated that feeling. I was like, I want to care. And then, like, Nebraska, it's like, I don't think that all the money and everything that they're doing, I don't think it's to be a 7-5 football team. I really don't. And I don't want to believe that. I don't want Nebraska fans. And I think Nebraska football players in the football program, if they're want, Nebraska fans to be happy going 7-5 and feel like they're doing a good job, then they're doing themselves a disservice, because it's just not, I just don't think 7-5 is just something that you should be proud of and hanging your hat on. I mean, if you, like you said, like, even, Coach Rule, when he came to Nebraska, he goes, now that we got the N and we got that brand on our shirt, we're going to be able to get the best players in the country. We're going to, so it's like, I just can't, I can't think that, that he's happy, being 7-5. And I hope that he's not. I hope he's upset. Yeah, I know we're going to a bowl game, and they'll be like, "Hey, we're playing on a New Year's Eve bowl game, and it's a Las Vegas Bowl, and da da da." But it's just like, I just hope that doesn't bring happiness. I hope there's a fire. I hope there's a chip on the shoulders to where they're going to be like, okay, we've got to do more. We've got to do a lot more.
Well said. And we'll have plenty more conversations about this Husker football team as they get ready for that Las Vegas Bowl, New Year's Eve, December 31st. Get ready to take on a very good Utah team. Maybe I'm overhyping them. Maybe they got a ton of dudes that are, I'm not sure how many are going to be NFL guys. I think they certainly got a few. And how many will hit the portal that'll play an impact. But I think a lot of those guys will end up playing. All right, we'll go ahead, throw it to break. Don't go anywhere. We'll end up with some positives. Raff's good take on life on the other side. 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle. All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320. There's only one place this holiday season to shop for the sports fan in your life and get cash back for slightly used sports items you don't need anymore. Play It Again Sports. Check out their selection of new and used items, including home fitness equipment like treadmills, exercise bikes, and ellipticals, and get your lift on with free weights, benches, and racks to add to your home gym. And don't forget, if you have anything slightly used to trade in, they'll give you instant cash. Holiday shopping starts and ends at Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Comfort food, but make it vegan. At Rutabagas, they're serving all your crave-worthy classics. Mac and cheese, loaded nachos, Philly cheesesteaks, all 100% plant-powered and 100% delicious. Catch them at their cozy spot at 70th and Vine, or find their food truck rolling through the streets of Lincoln. So whether you're vegan, veg curious, or just hungry for comfort food with a twist, Rutabagas has a plate waiting for you. Find them on Instagram for their food truck location and specials. Rutabagas, where comfort meets compassion.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at PAHLincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends. Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial to residential to agriculture storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post-frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
Back to Raff's Good Take on Sports on 93.7 The Ticket. With all the good takes you need, here is your host, Chris Raff.
Final segment, Raff's Good Take on Sports 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. We got a tiny little bit of time here left. If you guys want to get some questions, me and Raff might not be able to answer it, but I got DeMornay Pearsonell coming up next. We might be able to get to it. All right, Chris Raff, we talked a lot of Husker football today. We got a little bit of therapy session, I feel like, for all the Husker Nation out there. But what is your good take on life in general for December 9th, 2025?
All right, everybody. Today's Raff's Good Take goes out to my buddy, Luke Miller. Luke is turning 9 years old today. Luke, a couple years back, big fan of The Drive, big fan of Early Break, big fan of Raff's Good Take on Sports, of course. But Luke, just a great little kid, came in, took a tour of the studio a couple years back. Just an amazing, just the impact he had on me and everybody, in the studio when he came in to see us. It's always cool to meet the people, the listeners and the fans, the Raff's Roadies. So Luke, I hope you have a very happy 9th birthday. He's probably already sleeping, so I have to listen to it tomorrow. But Luke, happy birthday. Your Raff's Good Take.
Yeah, he probably doesn't listen to the night show.
He
probably
better.
Raff's Good mornings for him, knowing that he's a young lad. So he's got to wake up right in the morning and he's listening to the replay of the podcast or what it may be on Raff's Good Take.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's always awesome. I mean, I've had instances before. Now, I'm not, early break famous or anything. I don't walk outside like Jake Sorensen and everyone, wants a picture or wants to make fun of him for being a Dolphins fan. He gets quite a bit of both, I'm sure. But, even just a few instances where people recognize you. And, we know we mentioned Pete Ferguson, but, he tells me that he has scholars. And they talk to Pete, like, when can I be on, with you and Harrison? And It's cool. It's cool to be in a space that you maybe take it for granted at times. But I mean, just be able to have like that kind of feeling where, especially like for shows like Pete or some of the community shows where you feel like you're making an impact and you're not really getting anything out of it other than like, wow, people are listening. That's really cool. Or we're spotlighting other scholars and you hear back about how much they appreciate it. It's a awesome feeling. And it's one of the best things about being down here on 1040 O Street now is you feel a little bit more connected with the people that I'm talking to for about 6 hours a day. So apologies if you're tired of my voice, but I do appreciate everybody that listens on a nightly basis along with the Ticket Day crew.
Yep. Nope. I couldn't agree anymore. It's awesome. All the listeners, all the texters. I mean, it's super cool to talk to all the people of the great state of Nebraska and everywhere else that listens. It's cool to have people when you hear people listening in California and Texas. And
real quick, we had Pete was in for the weekly Disrupt and Phillips, Mike Smith, Mexico City. We got another place on the map that we had people listening to the ticket. We're at a party down there. They had it on a phone and they're all surrounded watching 93.7 The Ticket all the way down there in Mexico City. We're expanding. The operation is global. 93.7 The Ticket on the airwaves and the streams. Appreciate everybody listening. That is Chris Raff. I am Harrison Arns. We will talk to you guys again tomorrow.